Welcome to the Mourning After podcast, a conversation about life after loss. I'm your host, Shunta Mosby, a wife, singer, bonus mom of 3, and angel mom of 1. I created this podcast to be a safe space to express myself, learn, and heal in hopes of helping others like myself. I look forward to enjoying our time together, but don't forget to seek counsel from someone who knows a little bit more than me whenever you need it. Are you ready? Let's talk. Hey y'all, I'm back. I feel like I've taken a small pause to let life do what it does best, which is be busy, be crazy, be up and down. So it's been a little minute since you guys have heard from me, and it's not because I wanted to, just because I just kind of needed to take some time and be with family and, sort through life. So I've missed you guys, and hopefully you are looking forward to new episodes. I know I'm looking forward to getting a few more interviews under my belt and being able to talk with you all. Still getting used to this type of platform, purposefully hearing myself out loud talk. So here we are. I wanted to be able to stop and talk a little bit about self-care. That's something that I won't say, it was a struggle. It's definitely been a struggle because it's not something that I think to do for myself first. And that's look after myself. I love to be there and care for people. And so in this season, I am doing my best to look out for myself and my well-being, look out for maybe desires of mine. And that could be from a career standpoint, what I'd like to see from myself spiritually, financially, as a wife, as a mother, mom, sister, cousin, aunt, all the things that I may be to people. What does that look like for me? And so I realize I can't be the best of any of those things if I'm not taking care of myself. And so these last few months have been crazy. When we had the idea, or when I had the idea to start this podcast, it was, of course, as you all know, it's likely what brought you here is because of the loss of our baby Micah. And since then, we have experienced death in our family, a few times. We've experienced loss through family members and been able to be there for them as well. Job changes, family dynamics changing and shifting, just a lot. I am still, my husband and I, we are still considered newlyweds. I was told at a bachelorette event that I went to recently that you are still considered newlyweds under 5 years. So we are definitely under the 5-year mark, which means we are still in the newlywed phase. So that's some good news. But, even in that, still trying to figure out what is, quote unquote, being a good wife. What does that look like? What does being a bonus mom look like? So I have a lot to, I won't say figure out, because it's not like it's a time constraint or anything on it. It's just a day-to-day thing, slowly trying to figure out what I want to be, where I want to be. And as I approach 40 next year, as I approach that new milestone, I definitely want to make sure that I don't have to make sure, but I know, like most people, you really start to think about, where you are in your life. What are you doing? Are you happy where you are? And if you're not, what are you planning to do to change it and shift things in your favor? So I think that's kind of where I'm at in life. And so I recently joined a service organization, the Junior League of Memphis, and I'm in my provisional year, so this is something brand new. And there was one of our very first training opportunities was about self-care and showing grace, to yourself. I am often, I won't say reprimanded, but I am often those that are close friends of mine will, get on to me about showing so much grace to people that, in many opinions may or may not deserve it. And I believe it's important to do so. And one thing that I had to remember for myself is to show myself some grace. In most accounts, I have all the right and reason, both my husband and I, to just say, screw 2021, we're over it. It definitely didn't start the way that we wanted it to and that we saw for ourselves. This was heartbreaking. What we experienced was heartbreaking enough to just kind of call the year, and we pick up next year, and that could be relationships, friendships, being there for our families, anything. If we had both decided to shut ourselves in our rooms, we wouldn't do that because it's just not, who we are, but we could have. And, I think about all the things, I haven't done this yet, or I haven't lost this weight, or I, haven't started, that book, or started whatever other projects that I may have had on my vision board, or maybe have, written down or thought to do, for this year. And I had to stop and tell myself that it's okay, take the time to reset and get to and where you need to be, how you need to get to and where you need to be. And so some things that I have, been learning are important to do is say no. That is one of my biggest hurdles, is being able to say no. Looking at that text message or that email from someone that may need you or maybe want you to participate in something, and for me, I'll look at my calendar, see if I can do it. And, if I'm free, then 10 times out of 10, I'll say yes. It doesn't matter if I really feel like it. It doesn't really matter if, it's a must that I'm there. It could have just been a simple ask. And because I was asked, I feel obligated. And so just learning the art, because it's definitely an art for me, of saying no has been tremendous. Just being able to look at it and say, you know what, I can't. There have been many times when I've had something going on, or maybe I called somebody, or maybe even wanted someone to participate in something with me, and maybe they couldn't for whatever reason, and they said no. I wasn't upset about it. I didn't feel away. I understood, right? Because they have lives and they have the right to choose to say no. And I never really thought about it on the flip side. Shantae, it's okay to say no, that you're not available. So that was one of the big things. I don't have a super big list. Again, I'm working on sometimes flying off the cuff, and hopefully that works for this platform for me. But that's one of the big things for me, is to say no. And then not be apologetic about it. Now, I won't be rude, but I don't have to be apologetic for choosing how I spend my time and with whom I spend my time. And so that's been one of my biggest hurdles and one of the first steps for me in my self-care journey. Another step that I'm taking is for my health and wellness. I can imagine that if my listening audience, at any point in our lives, I'm sure all of us have said, oh, I need to, shed a couple pounds, or, oh, I need to build some muscle, or, oh, I need to, whatever that might look like. If you look in the mirror, if you, step on the scale, if you, you just want something different about yourself. I'm sure we've all, tried a new diet, tried a new lifestyle, tried a new exercise routine or regimen, and it might have, I don't know, not ended the way you may have planned. Maybe You just decided, okay, this is not going to work for me. Let me try something else. And so at this point in my life, I've been open. I've tried things that work for me. So I'm jumping back in the saddle, doing what I need to do to make myself feel better. And if that means I have to do a little meal prepping or cooking daily, making food preparation something fun for myself. I did my first is it Insta story? Reel. It was a reel. So I did like a 30-second reel, 2 30-second reels about, a meal that I made. I'd never done it before. It was kind of fun. I love watching them. So I was like, you know what, maybe I can create a little content on this evening while having a little fun, creating a meal that works within my dietary restrictions. So I've been having fun with that. Been seeing some results, and sometimes it stalls, and I have to look back and say, okay, what did I eat today? What did I do? Did I drink enough water? So little things like drinking more water. I realize how much better I feel when I drink more water, and when I in my case, lessen the amount of carbs that I eat. Maybe not so much sugary drinks, or I won't do the bread with the sandwich, or a wrap, or maybe chips, or something that I would normally do as comfort, or just because it's delicious and I love food. So that's one big thing. Is taking the time to figure out what I need to feel my best. I wear a fitness watch, and I have a few people that I follow, and I'm sure, like I said, others that use Apple or Samsung products, use these devices, and you watch, at least I do, I watch my friends close their rings and complete exercises, and I'm sitting at my desk at home like, okay, I didn't get to it today. And, now I find myself finding ways to get in some form of exercise. My husband is a high school football coach, and I have officially made myself the team manager so that I can make sure that all of the players are hydrated. So guess what that means? That means that I am at any given time during a football game running up and down, probably halfway up and down the football field, making sure they're getting water, running. And so even though it might not be a traditional, oh, I'm walking 2 miles today, or, oh, I'm on the elliptical, just making the opportunities that I can, or using the opportunities that I get to get some type of physical action in, especially if you have a job where you're seated often. Another thing that I've used is a desktop riser. So I know many of us are working remote, and I've used the desktop riser. I chose to purchase it because I already had a desk, to purchase a desktop riser. And so if you don't know what that is, it's kind of self-explanatory, but it allows you to set, your multiple monitors, your keyboard, your mouse, and all of that on top of this riser that is sitting on top of your desk. And so let's say your app on your phone tells you, or your watch tells you, hey, it's time to stand, or you realize you've been sitting for the last 3 hours and you're on this call and you would love to stand and stretch your legs. It will allow for that. It allows you to slide it up, and I can be fully standing with my keyboard still at a comfortable, I don't know what way to say it, but in a comfortable way, so I can still type, still see, my 2 screens, everything. Like, it is the coolest thing ever. And I love it. It kind of helps me, like I said, when I need to not be seated for so long. So, just a few things that you can do, on the health and, wellness part. I will add having fun. So I'll make that my third one. Having fun, finding opportunities to do things that bring you happiness. I am an introvert, and although I do enjoy going out with my friends, going out with my family, my husband, doing social activities, 8 times out of 10, I would prefer to be at home, resting, watching TV, maybe talking to a friend, or FaceTiming my mom or my cousins, and things like that. Those kind of things, being alone, being in quiet spaces, those kind of things are fun to me. But I'm learning to try new things. So I've been adventurous. And so during the summer, I coined my interactions Summer of Fun. So I did hashtag Summer of Fun. And my goal for myself was to try new things, have fun, not be afraid to try something new. I was even being daring in maybe some of the things that I wore. I had a friend that was like, okay, got a little skin, a little midriff happening. Those that know me know that I would never, ever do it, even when my body said yes. Sure, do it. Who cares? I wouldn't do it, right? Super modest in that regard. And it's not that I was naked by any stretch of the imagination, but just those small things, doing those small things to push the envelope, have a little fun, I think are important. Maybe you find out, okay, I kind of like this, I didn't, or maybe I thought I didn't like something because maybe someone else in my life didn't like it. And so I felt like I didn't like it either. And so just trying to figure out what I like, and all that has been like super, super, super amazing. And I mentioned this earlier, which was, just showing yourself grace, understanding that you're not perfect. Life can suck the life out of you, and make you feel like, you're missing the mark. I know social media can do that. When you look at maybe some of your friends' pages and you think, oh my gosh, they're doing this and they got this going on and that going on. And we just never really know what any and everyone's facing. And you wonder, well, why haven't I done this? Why haven't I completed, this, thing? Or my website should have been done. I purchased the domain X amount of years ago or X amount of months ago. I had that idea. Man, I wonder why I didn't, So at some point, of course, it's important to take responsibility for the things that we could have done that we didn't. But at the same time, it's important to show ourselves some grace. Because what I've learned is that people won't. They will let you continue to be their version of Superman or Superwoman, and when it's time to have grace shown towards you, it's not there. And I've experienced that, here most recently, and it was very difficult for me because I've always felt like I've been a person to be there for people, and as often as I can and as much as I can, and that in a sincere place. Now, for those that are new to hearing my voice and knowing who I am, sure, I can say without a doubt that I'm probably not the most expressive person, which is why this vlog, journal, blog is here, and that's to help me kind of open up and become more expressive. And so that is where I struggle. So I have to do things like, say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Hey, I, love you. How you doing? And when I think about people and, I try to stop and, send a message or maybe inbox or a call or something like that, because, life will get crazy. And before you know it, you haven't talked to someone, you haven't checked in, and, then you're feeling awful and they're probably feeling like they're feeling awful because they haven't done the same. And so I'm just learning that sometimes that happens. And, you have to give yourself grace and understand that there are times when our lives will keep us from people, not because you need to be kept from them, but just because during that time period, maybe you just have to deal with things that you have to deal with. And so I found myself in that space a lot this year, and really in the past couple of years, because I've noticed that, and I think any new wife, new mom, new anything would say that it'd be like that sometimes. You have new responsibilities and new things in your life, and things just shift. And Sometimes things are overlooked, and sometimes things are not tended to the way that your heart may desire. It just doesn't work out. And so I've decided, not to beat myself up. If you are a friend of mine, a loved one of mine, and I ain't heard from you, and you're hurt and feeling about it, call me. Y'all, I love y'all. And it's not it's not on purpose. It's not on purpose. It's just a lot happening over here, and I'm just thankful to, like I said, to have this platform and to be able to kind of share. So it's not a lot. I didn't want to be here a long time today, but I wanted to, on this episode, just kind of talk about a few of the things that I'm doing for myself. And this is a work in progress. And that is, of course, being able to say no, figuring out what my boundaries are, what's important for me to do at this time. Is it necessary for my calendar? Do I have to add this thing? So being comfortable with saying no and not being apologetic about it. 2, exercise, eat right, do what you have to do to be in the best shape that you want to be in. So that's what I'm, working on. 3, having fun, not forgetting to not take yourself so seriously. Have a little fun, show a little skin, wear a new accessory. Hats have been my thing this past summer, and I will extend it on to the fall. Before that, it was fashion glasses, still have them. Frames by Maya C. Look her up. That's the niece. So I use all those things to, kind of add a little pizzazz and have a little fun with my outfits and such. And then lastly, excuse me, lastly is showing grace to others. Shucks. When you see that maybe they need grace shown, and then of course, keeping yourself at the forefront, showing grace to yourself, because we need it. And if nobody else is going to give it to you, you should be able to give it to you. This has been a cool little episode. I definitely appreciate you all stopping and listening and sharing the Mourning After podcast with your friends and family and loved ones. And again, I hope that you hear from me soon. If you're enjoying the podcast, again, please share it. Please leave comments on Facebook. I would say Instagram for now, but they've managed to hijack my account. But if you can find me on social media somewhere, please let me know that you're enjoying this podcast and that my rambling is not in vain. So again, thank you so much for listening to The Mourning After.